Hi, Rachel. Welcome to the PowerTalk Show powered by Business Talks Weekly. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation and joining us today. So, before we dive into a conversation, can you tell us a bit about your professional background and how are you really helping high paying individuals quit their professional job, find a soul searching atmosphere?
Okay, well, thank you so much for having me. I am Rachel Speckman. I am the founder of Made for More Coaching. I am a therapist by training, and I pivoted from the corporate world to do more soul aligned work, and I'm helping others to do the same. You do not have to quit your job. You could pivot within. I actually say the best place to begin your career journey is exactly where you are. Do an audit. What are you loving? What lights you up every single day? And how do you do more of that? Hopefully, you can do it where you are. You have a boss that's supporting you and a team that's supporting you. And if not, let's start brainstorming other ways to get you more soul aligned work.
When you talk about soul searching, is it only about following your passion or is it something else?
No, so it is part following your passion. So if we think about every single day, right now, you and I are using the skills of public speaking, we're using the skills of a computer. We might be thrust into using these skills, but that does not mean that we enjoy using them. So over time in our careers, we just sort of start doing the same thing again and again because it just feels like rinse and repeat. And at a certain point, whether it's a life transition, the pandemic brought this out in a lot of people, it's really a time to think, do I actually enjoy using these skills? And if so, what do I enjoy about them? Do I enjoy where I'm using them, the kinds of teams that I'm on using them? And if not, okay, well, how do I actually dial it down? So if I didn't like public speaking, but I loved being on the other end of this podcast, mixing it, publishing it. How do I do more of that and less of sort of what life has thrown at me or I've just accelerated in over my career?
That's interesting. And so, Rachel, I want to understand many percentage of individuals are actually not happy and satisfied on the current role.
That is so funny you asked that because one of my intake questions with everybody is on a 0 to 100, how happy or unhappy are you in your career? So I would encourage every single listener to ask themselves at the end of the day, what percent happy am I? Most people reach out for support when they're at about 20 to 40% happy. So that means 40 to 60% unhappy. And I ask people, would you stay in a house that was 60% falling apart? Would you stay in a relationship that was 60% falling apart? And the answer is most likely no, but people do stay in their careers when they're this unhappy because, of course, they have the mortgage and the families to support and the golden handcuffs. We can still figure out how to make good money for you, but you don't have to stay that unhappy and that stuck. There's a
That's
lot of impact on our mental health, on our physical health when we stay stuck for a long time. And very often we justify, well, I'm stuck, but this will happen next year, or I'm stuck, but it fits for this reason. And that's why I also often say there is a reason, a season, or a lifetime for the career choices that we make. And so if we are stuck, it is really important to think, what is my exit strategy and what's an appropriate timeline?
absolutely. That's very interesting because, as you mentioned about mental health and mental well being when you are in a professional life, what structure or what parameters have you put into place that helps them overcome these barriers?
Yeah. So, because I am a therapist by training and this is coaching work, I do understand some of the very specific psychological challenges that happen when we try to create change. And change is hard, and we need the right people around us, the right environment, the right coach or accountability. One of the things that I really look for is, we together we do what's called an internal resume. So, what are the moments in your career that maybe nobody else saw, but that you are the most proud of? And either how do we get you back to that kind of energy, or how do we put you into that kind of energy if maybe you've never had it? But it is a psychological, it's called a two-part model. We understand the psychological barriers that come with making change. And then we, of course, have the career coaching and strategy work and all of the applications and action items that we need to make that kind of change.
Absolutely. That makes absolute sense. Rachel, there's been so many tech and there's so many applications that help you in your well-being, even at, they give you a timelines about activities that you need to do, schedule it, meditation, some songs. How does that come into play?
I know. It's a noisy world, it's an amazing world. Look at us. Like we're on different parts of the planet and we're connecting with each other. So I encourage everyone to think about what kinds of technology, AI, what kind of support is helping me. And then it can be a very fine line between being overwhelmed, feeling paralyzed by how many options there are, having analysis paralysis. So we don't want to make perfect the enemy of good. And these tools, I really believe, are for us to benefit from, to connect with each other. But the minute it starts to feel either not in alignment with you, and by that, I mean, this is so complicated, this is so overwhelming, I'm intimidated, that's when I encourage people to think, okay, everybody, we work towards a professional mission. How are we getting to what lights our soul up? And how is the role of technology helping us in that endeavor?
Absolutely. That's very interesting. And Rachel, so what actually causes burnout to when you are at a C-level position, or if you are a leader, what actually causes burnout?
Well, actually, can I add one quick story to my previous answer? Because I want to think people really connect with stories, right? So
Yes.
I have a client I'm working with right now. I mean, they have put everything into ChatGPT. Help me with this, help me with that, right? And it's helpful. It's incredibly helpful. I've used ChatGPT 100 times today. I mean, it is incredibly helpful. At the end of the day, though, we want human connection. We are humans. We want that connection with one another. We benefit from community, from accountability, from that kind of support. And so with that client, we've really been working on, well, how do you use it to improve your what you're applying for and your skills and your cover letter writing? But it's not going to take over and it's not going to ever replace that human connection that we have with each other. So how do I make sure that I don't burn out? How does anybody make sure they don't burn out? The first is we have to be paying attention all of the time. I mean, I actually have a goal that I have no more than 5 tabs open every day when I'm working on something because it can just become so overwhelming. So there are a million little ways we can think about burnout as it relates to technology, our mood, who we're surrounded by. But really, the burnout is actually very often a slow roll. So we're not paying attention. Oh, that'll get better. Oh, this is kind of broken. Again, back to the house metaphor. Oh, that little thing is broken. This little thing is broken. And then all of a sudden you're overwhelmed with how many things to take care of. So we really need to be tuned into there's no quick fix. I wish there were. There's just ongoing paying attention, moving your body, being in, we do lots of engage, not just in the mental health piece, but how does that impact your quality of life overall?
Absolutely. Excellent.
I realize that there is such a demand for coaching and that I want people who are stuck to connect with each other and to see one another's results as quickly as possible. And so, to that end, yes, I am working on different ways to think about how do we get people out of soul sucking careers and into soul aligned work as quickly as possible. And how do we have this kind of community support one another? Because that's the result that everybody wants to see. I'm the guide. You want to see other people who've walked this walk and who are walking it with you right now. And so that's what I'm creating right now. And it's called
Absolutely.
Made for More Coaching. So it's made
May
for more coaching.
what are the challenges are you facing to scale Made for You coaching?
Oof, how much time do we have? No, I mean, everybody has challenges, right? Everyone has challenges. And that's actually one of the things I work on with people. What challenges do you like solving and what challenges do you don't? Do you not like solving? I think a big challenge is coaching is a crowded marketplace, and as it should be because people need help in different ways. So, as much as possible, I lean on my therapeutic training. I don't call this therapy, but this is because I'm a therapist. I understand the pain some people are in. And most people, of course, want to get out of pain as quickly as possible. Another challenge I'm seeing is that overwhelm and that I'm stuck, but I'm kind of used to it. Or isn't this just how it's supposed to be? And I'm here to give you permission to say, no, you don't have to be drained at the end of the day. A day here and there, fine. But as the quality of your life, no, this is your one wild, precious life. So let's get you undrained and soul aligned as quickly as possible.
That's interesting. Rachel, if I'm looking at from say my perspective, if I am looking forward to a coaching or a mentor, what parameters or what principles should I keep in mind and evaluate to, to finalize a coach or a mentor?
Okay. So I have made two major career pivots and I walk the walk as much as I can. I mean, I talk about what's called the dark nights of the soul, where you think I was made for more than what I'm doing here. So, in general, I would say find somebody who's not just talking about it, but who's actually done it. And there is no get rich quick. There is no free lunch. This is hard work. And so find somebody who's willing to get in the weeds and do the hard work with you. That's what I would say. I would say find someone as much as possible who's ahead of where you are. So, wow, look at what they've achieved. Look at the people that they've worked with that have achieved this. I can't underplay success stories. I have all my clients write a success story if they can or narrate one, because that's anybody can put a good website up. Anybody can talk about what they do. You have to see the end results in the clients and the people who have engaged with the work.
So when you talk about end results, what are some of the weirdest questions or challenges you have seen and you have answered for a professional?
So the most common questions I get are, are you going to find the job for me? Or are you kind of a recruiting headhunter? And I say, I wish, but what we're going to do is we're going to help you get into that clarity, that confidence, so that when you are sitting, I use this example all the time, when someone's sitting next to you on the airplane and says, what do you do? It's not just I'm a masseuse or, oh, I'm a marketer. It's I believe in radical transformation and here's how I do it. And I do want to give credit because Simon Sinek is the one who has this, we have our why at the center. Not what are you doing, not how are you doing it, but why are you doing it? And so that is a very common question that I get. Another common question is, how long is this going to take? And I will often tell people that if something has been stuck, a poster in your house has been stuck to the wall, or something's been jammed for a very long time, it's going to take some elbow grease to get it unstuck. It's not just going to pop off like you put it on yesterday. Over time, the glue has gelled, the heat, all of the conditions. So we work through, what does unsticking look like? Mindset, tools, resources, people around you.
Absolutely. It takes a lot of time and patience to build something, right? One final question to you, Rachel. What principles, or I would say, what advice did you receive that change your perspective towards professional and personal life?
So one of my favorite quotes is from a former boss. And she said, I have $100 in my pocket, and I'm going to give anybody who comes to me with a problem $1. And anybody who comes to me with a solution, $100. You decide how much money you want to make. And so I say that because I think being solution oriented is generally harder, but it's so much more rewarding.
Absolutely. But are we living in a world where people have solution, or people have 100 problems and they collect $100?
I mean, I couldn't get on the video and I Googled it 100 times and I downloaded one other thing. So I want to be with, so I think we live in a world where there's so many solutions at the ready. And so really trying to understand, what problem am I solving? How can I solve it as quickly as possible with smart people around me and smart tools? And I'm still figuring this out myself. I'm very honest with people too. I'm not a guru. I'm definitely a person who understands that there is so much hard work involved in this and that I'm here to get down in the weeds and do it with you. But I do think we're living in a very solution oriented world. And that's who I enjoy working with.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. It was a wonderful conversation. Thank you so much for joining a channel.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.